Hello, everyone. Welcome to Joe Consumes Cinema. I'm your host. You're going to like this guy. He's one of us. He's a good fella. And today we have another installment in the Joe Revisit series with the 1990 film Goodfellas. Absolute classic. I love this. I love mob movies. They're a ton of fun. I love watching them. And this one is just one of my personal favorites. You know, it's got a killer cast. Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, Joe Pesci. They all do a fantastic job in this movie. Robert De Niro is really just a force of nature. His skill is undeniable. He's like climate change. Only a fool would try and deny what he can do on film. And yeah, this is going to be a ton of fun. I know I'm going to love doing this one, but I don't want to get too much into it. If you haven't seen this movie for whatever reason, stop this, do yourself a really big favor and go watch it. You'll love it. But yeah, it's got all the classic mob elements, ton of good stuff in here, and this is just going to be a ton of fun doing this. I'm glad to finally have this one up on the channel. But as always, please remember to blank, blank, and blank. Channel's doing really well. We're over 3,000, which is awesome. Just more of that, please, and the channel will keep progressing. I have a Blue Sky social account, Joe Consumes Cinema. Feel free to make an account of your own. Give me a follow and like over there. I have something big in the works. It should be coming very soon, and I think it's going to be very, very good for the channel, but I don't want to reveal it just yet. That's pretty much everything, so let's just get right to the movie. Also, I forgot to say it, but, shout out to Martin Scorsese. He's got to be one of my favorite directors. Directed a ton of great movies.
What is that? Jimmy. What's up? Did I hit something?
Always wanted to be a gangster.
That's how you start a fucking movie.
Being a gangster was better than being president of the United States. They did whatever they wanted. They double parked in front of a hydrant. Nobody ever gave them a ticket. Nobody ever called the cops. Paulie didn't have to move for anybody. And he liked that I got myself a job. He always used to say that American kids were spoiled lazy. Wise guys would pull up and Tootie would toss me their keys and let me park their Cadillacs. Take on a boss and start a war. It was when I first met Jimmy Conway.
I'd like you to meet the kid Henry. How you doing?
What he really loved to do was steal. I mean, he actually enjoyed it.
You might know who. How you doing, Joe?
We made them partners.
How many pounds you need? What? Where'd you get those cigarettes?
Get him out of here.
Get him out of here.
Here's your graduation present.
What for? I got pinched.
Everybody gets pinched, but you did it right. You told them nothing, and they got nothing. Never rat on your friends, and always keep your mouth shut.
The first part of the movie is all about the allure of the life, and you really see it in a scene like this. He gets arrested and, they're celebrating it with him.
Whenever we needed money, we'd rob the airport. To us, it was better than Citibank. There was Anthony Stabile,
How you doing?
Frankie Carbone, Mo Black's brother, Fat Andy, Freddie No-Nose, Pete the Killer, who was Sally Balls' brother, Jimmy...
Man, first time I saw that, I thought he was serious. It's just the way it builds tension. They're laughing, having a good time, and then all of a sudden it gets so... just a complete tonal shift, and you're like, oh my god, is he really mad about this? And then later on, you see how much of a whack job Tommy is, so...
No problem. Tell him to put it on my tab.
Fucking G's, you owe me.
Like to call me a fucking deadbeat, Sonny, you're a real fucking mutt. You know the money we
What are you
spend in this
talking
fucking...
about? Come on, don't be like that.
Remember, she's screaming on the street, and I mean loud, but she looked good.
Another classic long shot here. Very good. Love Scorsese's style.
How you doing, Gino? Always good. Every time you do. What you want?
Right through the kitchen.
Just let me know.
Table out of nowhere.
Good. How you doing?
What do you do?
I'm in construction.
Yeah, doesn't feel normal.
There was always a little harassment.
Billy Bats.
Shoes anymore.
Breaking your balls a little bit, that's all. I'm only kidding with you.
Sometimes you don't sound like you're kidding.
Now go home and get your fucking shine box.
Motherfucking mutt! You fucking piece of shit!
Come on, you fucking feel strong?
Yeah. Give me a fucking drink. Thanks, Yahoo, you motherfucker! All right, so we got shot in the foot. What is it, a big fucking deal?
Increasingly, erratic, and they think they're above everything.
I'm telling you, I look in your face and I know that you're lying! Go to your ready-made horse. That's all you're good for!
Hey, Spider, that fucking bandage on your foot is bigger than your fucking head, you know that? Tell the truth, you're looking for sympathy. Is that it, sweetie?
Why don't you go fuck yourself, Tommy?
Just stop it. I'm afraid
Paulie finds out.
What did I just say? Don't worry about him. He is not helping us out.
Karen, get packed. We're moving out of here.
Tommy, he's a good kid too, but he's crazy.
He's fucking
Tommy,
crazy.
Too much to prove. Bibbs is 70 years old and the fucking guy's gonna die in prison. I don't need that. You know that you're only out early because I got you a job. I don't need this heat.
I always felt bad for Paulie, even though, again, bad guy gangster. But yeah, I just felt bad for him.
I made $12,000 in my second week.
What the fuck is the matter with you?
Oh, God. Carbone and his girl walk in and she's wearing a fucking mink coat. Jimmy is right to be paranoid. They're showing up in new cars with mink coats and shit, and it's just like, hey, I've clearly committed a robbery recently.
Just a little taste.
Jimmy.
Be a moral with the money. Do what's right, you understand? Yeah.
I got the most expensive tree they had.
We're a little bit past the, the halfway point. Everything's going really well. And now we have the fall.
Henry, I want my fucking money. I had it up to here.
Boy, you're gonna get your money. You just gotta stop busting balls.
That look he gives right then and there. This is the moment when he decides to kill Maury.
Oh, it's terrific, yeah. Nunzio up in the...
What do you want to do? Get rid of him. Chop him up. Get rid of him.
But now we start in on the whackings. Yeah, Jimmy would rather whack all these fools than pay them what they're owed. Fucking Carbone got it the worst. Gets killed, then gets, put on a meat hook inside of a fucking meat truck. I mean, look at this shit.
When they found Carbone in the meat truck, he was frozen so stiff it took them 2 days to thaw him out.
Oh my God.
This is a fucking hard way to live, man.
You treat me like a fucking jerk. Like I was never nothing to you.
You're all I've got, and I really, really need your help.
Take this. Now I gotta turn my back.
$3,200 for a lifetime.
If we stay around here, we're dead. You got it? We're dead.
Over here?
Right down there.
The scene is very controversial. Like, what was he trying to do here? It's pretty clear he was trying to scare the hell out of her. I think he knows this is like a crack house.
Lock the window.
What happened?
I'm scared.
Jimmy had never asked me to whack somebody before. That's when I knew I would never have come back from Florida alive. I'm not gonna do this unless you and the kids come with me.
You need Henry. You don't need me, right?
That's right. And frankly, I don't care whether you're going on. But Henry, I've listened to those.
Yeah, you can't claim ignorance here.
We're basically your only salvation. We're gonna save your life. We're gonna save his life. Your Honor, let the record reflect.
Always felt bad for Paulie.
Hardest thing for me was leaving the life.
When I was broke, I would go out and rob some more. Everything was for the taking. And now it's all over.
And that's the hardest part. I'm an average nobody.
Yeah, Paulie died inside. Okay, took some time just to gather my thoughts. So that was Goodfellas. Amazing as always. Scorsese is a genius. Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Ray Liotta get a lot of praise for, their performances in this movie, and they're all really, really good. But Lorraine Bracco is also damn good in this too, and I don't think she gets enough credit. She played Karen. The highs and lows, like she's kind of like the outsider perspective, marries into this, but doesn't really understand what she's marrying into, is very naive as the story progresses. And part of it is, Henry just keeps lying to her. She doesn't know what to believe, and the cheating, the arrests, the jail time, and then finally witness protection. She's just kind of like along for the ride for the most part, but she gets involved too, and not innocent by the end of the film for sure. But also just a really great performance, and I think she deserves more praise than she usually gets. So this is the movie that set the entire formula. It starts off with, the allure of the life, how much fun it would be to actually live like this. As the movie, progresses through the rise of the mobster life, it's just a lot of fun, and you can kind of see yourself doing this and how exciting and exhilarating it would be. But then, it always comes to that point, whether it's losing all your friends because the mobsters kill each other for nothing, literally drop of the hat, an insult, or even just a perceived insult, sparks a ton of violence and retribution, and it just never ever ends. When they're first starting out, they're small time and it's easier to get away with it because they're not on anyone's radar. But once they get established and once they start making, these really big moves, the feds get on their case and eventually they go to jail. It spirals, there's drug abuse, everything goes south, and it has that classic fall. But yeah, this is the formula, and it's worked good for a lot of mob movies for a long time, and they could still use this to today and it would still be successful, based on enough truth that it's very believable. And people have lived this shit, unfortunately. And like I said during the reaction, like, I can never imagine living like this. Part of the appeal to never have to take any shit from everybody, not having to work that 9 to 5 to survive, that's prime fantasy chum for a lot of viewers. But they hit you back with the reality of the drug abuse, the prison time, the death and the murder, constant escalation. Nobody could live through this much stress and not eventually have a heart attack. So whatever surface level appeal people initially have, it smacks you right back down. And I always appreciate about these films is, yes, parts of the life seem very appealing, but it never shies away from the negative aspects. They just far, far outweigh, any benefit to actually thinking, maybe I could actually live like this. And it's like, no, never. Forget that noise. Scorsese just has such a great directorial style. I love the long shot. It's not even Henry, it's just the camera passing through the restaurant introduces you to all the different mobsters. They all have these funny, eccentric names and stuff, and it just has its own style. When he goes on the date with Karen and they're going through the kitchen, it's fun, it's exciting, very unique. Not a lot of directors took the time to actually choreograph the lasting shot. It's a nice thing that he kind of made famous. It's just classic Scorsese, so it's great to see. I love a lot of the scenes. Joe Pesci, when he's, talking about, what am I, a clown? I amuse you. I'll make you laugh, that whole thing. I remember the first time I saw that and being, really tense. They're having this, great moment, everybody's laughing, and then, it switches like that, and it's just like, is he being serious right now? And I couldn't tell at first, but yeah, man. Tommy was a fucking wacko. Jimmy, not that far off, but at least he had a little bit more control. Henry is kind of just like, what can I get out of this shit? And, he has these two kind of acting as an anchor. Not to say that Henry didn't cause his own problems. He got into drugs and he was destined to fail. He got involved with all these fuck-ups. They never listened to him. Fucking Lorraine... Call from an outside line, please, you got to do this. And then, of course, she 2 seconds later calls straight from the home phone and it's just like, come on, so stupid. Gets involved with a junkie, dating on the side, and it's just like, okay, that's another liability. Yeah, it's just that classic rise and fall of, the gangster lifestyle. That's what this film is. De Niro is fucking great in this. This is one of the ones where he's just, this might be the one where he's the most scary as Jimmy Conway, because my God, after the Lufthansa heist, when everybody shows up, with the new car and the mink coat, and he's like fucking paranoid and he's like losing it, like, what the fuck is the matter with you? It's just like, then and there he's about to start killing people, and fucking Maury just breaking his balls. And I knew the first interaction they had, it's the scene where, he has that stupid commercial about Maury's wigs, and he's talking all hard to Henry, tell him to go fuck himself, I'm not paying him shit. Jimmy comes up and, wraps the telephone cord around his neck. I knew then and there this guy was going to kill this other guy. We had known Jimmy Conway all of 5 minutes, and already I knew he was going to kill Maury right after that. And sure enough, it happens. But yeah, this is just a great one to revisit. You can watch it again and again. And it's been a while since I've seen it, but still holds up, still love it. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. So as always, thanks for watching, and peace.